What's up, guys, and welcome back to Epic Journey Through the Bible. We're still in John chapter 4, guys. It is March 14, and now we're going to be moving on from the story of the woman at the well, and we're actually going to be looking at the story where, well, it's really the continuation of that story. So Jesus is there, and remember, the disciples had gone off to get supplies, right? And they come back to Jesus with the food, and they're like, hey, it's time to eat. Here's some food. You should be eating now. And Jesus says the weirdest thing to them. He says, my food is to do the will of my Father. And they're like, what? Like, shouldn't you be eating? And he says, no, it's to do the will of my Father and to finish the work, to finish his work, he says. Now, I think that's really, really interesting. Because of all the things that Jesus could have said there, could have said, no, I'm not really hungry right now. I'm going to eat a little bit later on. But he says, my food is to do the will of my Father and to finish his work. What is it that excites you most in life? Is it doing God's work? Is it following Jesus? Is it obeying Jesus? Is it something else? Is it something trivial? Something that doesn't really matter? Is it making money? Is it making friends? Is it your family, relationships? All those are great things, right? But Jesus says that his food, what really sustains him, what really eggs him on, what really keeps him going from day to day is to do God's will. And I think that when we see God's work in that way, it'll excite us more to be willing to do God's will. And then Jesus says something really weird. He says, look around you at the harvest fields, for they're already white. They're ready for the reaping to take place. What does that mean? Well, we see several times in the Bible where people are compared with a harvest. And people being harvested in this particular case is not like harvesting organs and that kind of thing. This is people being brought in to the safety of the barn. People being brought into heaven is really the metaphor that God uses all throughout the Bible there, with people being brought in as a harvest, being brought in through a reaping process. Pretty cool. So Jesus is trying to get the disciples to understand that all around them is the harvest. Remember, where are they in this story? They're in Samaria, right? And the Jews hated the Samaritans. And so Jesus is educating his own disciples on how important it is for them to stop just thinking about themselves, but to start thinking about the harvest, to start seeing the people right there. Right, they were in Samaria. The people were all around them, and yet they were only focused on filling their bellies, only focused on themselves. And Jesus says, look around you. The harvest fields are ready for reaping. Get out there and do God's will. And my food is doing God's will. That's what Jesus says. Jacob, I want my will to be. I want my food to be doing God's will. And I hope you want the same for yourself. But that's not necessarily a natural thing that takes place. It's not something we can practice. It's something that God gives us supernaturally. And so we got to ask him for it. And he says, ask and you will receive. So we can ask him, God, help me to have a will that matches your will. Help me to want the things that you want. Help me to crave, just like I crave food, help me to crave doing what it is that you want me to do and helping finish your work. God could do his work all by himself. He doesn't need us, but he offers us the privilege of partnering with the creator of the universe. How amazing is that? God bless you guys. Let's do God's will. Have a great day.